This is Sean with Gate City Foundation Drainage. I'm out doing an assessment today in Greensboro, so take a look at what we got going on here. We have got a interesting situation here where we're basically going like downhill across all this. And so the complaint we have here is water in the crawl space. Now, the first thing I noticed up here is we've got the larger downspouts. These are the 3x4 downspouts, but we've got small gutters. Also, take a look at this organic matter here. And we also have that on the other side. So possible gutters overflowing here. The other thing we have is the street is higher, so we're flowing down to the house. So let's take a look at the complaint that we had here. Which is water in the crawl space. Now, I see this a lot where people send me pictures of a puddle of water and whatnot. But if you look here, obviously water getting in anywhere under this house, it's going to end up here. So this is the low point. And so the fact that there's water collecting here just means that there's water getting in the crawl space. It doesn't necessarily mean there's a problem here. So let's walk back up to the front and take a look. So remember, a drainage solution should identify the problem water. It should collect it into a pipe, and then you should be able to see that problem water flowing away. So the homeowner was over here with me earlier, and he pulled back some of this organic matter. And take a look at this. So we've got a perforated corrugated pipe here. And so you all know from watching my channel that when you inject that gutter water into the ground, it's going to go right into the foundation. So I think that taking this water, putting it into a sump basin right here, and pumping it, since we're going uphill, pumping it out to the front is going to be the ticket here. Now, I did mention putting a sump pump in that back corner back there, but that would be kind of like treating the problem and not treating, or treating the symptom and not the actual problem. So I'm going to give them two quotes here. One, just putting a sump pump in there, pumping it to the street. The other one actually piping these 3 front gutters into a sump basin and then pumping it to the street. He also pulled this organic matter back and found another perforated pipe here, and this one's flowing uphill. So that could be a good source of that water, that problem water under the crawl space.
I'll take my view instead of yours.
This was a pretty interesting assessment job in that we had water coming from multiple different places. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that the street is higher than all those properties, and the whole neighborhood is just sloping downhill. And so I did a drainage project for a friend of mine a few houses downhill from this property, and I called her after I went out there, and apparently all those neighbors know that the water just like flows down from one property to the next, to the next, to the next. And so one of the things I talked to this homeowner about was we need to get this water out to the street. And you probably know from watching my channel that I don't really like, pumping is a last resort because pumps cost money to run and all that. But in this case, you just can't take a 4-inch pipe and aim it at your downhill neighbor. And so we really need to catch that gutter water, get it into a sump basin, and pump it to the street. And apparently what the previous drainage people did is they put in that perforated pipe along the foundation, and that disappeared the water. Nobody knows where the water went, but what was happening is the water was going down under the foundation through the crawl space and ending up in that low point. And so keep in mind, any drainage solution needs to be able to identify the problem water. It needs to catch that water into a pipe, and you need to be able to see that problem water flowing away to a place where it's no longer a problem. And so the other thing I wanted to talk about with a project like this is we have water coming from multiple locations. And so I was very, very clear with the homeowner saying we could put a pump in that low area and that would be a lot less money, but you would still have water crossing the foundation and running through the crawl space, and that could cause a problem over time with water. The other thing is I also mentioned that uphill driveway, pretty much they've already seen the water just like flowing across that driveway. And so if we catch those front gutters, I think there were 5 of them, get them into a sump basin, get that water out to the street, but there's still water in the crawl space, I was very clear to say that our solution will get the gutter water, and the gutters have to be working for that to work. That gutter water has to get into the pipes, into the sump basin, and it will no longer be in the crawl space, and I can guarantee that. But if there's water flowing from the neighbor and it's still getting in the crawl space, that's water that I'm not guaranteeing at this point. So when you do a job like this or quote a job like this where you have multiple sources of water, you need to be very, very clear with the homeowner, and I've run into problems with that before. And you can't really blame them. It's kind of the idea of if I spent X amount of dollars, the problem should be fixed. And so now I'm very, very clear in saying, this is the water that I'm going to address. This other water over here, we need to do something else with. And so you have to prioritize in that case. But getting that gutter water that's right now being injected into the ground through that perforated pipe, getting that to the street is going to be a huge, huge deal for getting water off of this foundation. So let me know what you all think of this assessment. Thanks for watching. If you learned anything from this assessment or enjoyed watching, you can support the channel, and you know what to do here. You can also give me a super thanks, become a member, buy me a coffee, or become a patron, and those links are down below. Thanks again for watching.